His signing is imminent, Dave.
Imminent. Yeah, he's coming. He's coming for
coming.
sure. Everything says that he's coming.
So yeah, let's pronounce it one more time for
Yakamakis.
So I am not that sophisticated. I'm gonna go with Papa Giorgio. I think that's
All right.
what
I like it. I like it. Papa
Twitter,
Giorgio Yakamakis.
GG Papa Giorgio. I don't know, something like that.
I like
it. Yeah, there's already some chants from Celtic that I think we could
copy
leech onto since we can't seem to create our own. What else? There's another Peruvian center back to add to our lineup. And
Luis Abram.
Okay.
Abram.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Abram.
Let's go Abram.
All right, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. And so there was supposedly a rumor of 3 signings, and it sounds like one of them is in the midfield, right? So
there was supposed to be 1 midfielder, 1 defender, 1 forward. So, Abrams is center back. Yakamakis is a forward. And so by default, that leaves us with 1 midfielder coming, assuming Pineda had it right.
Well, one exciting thing about the preseason opener against Chattanooga is we got to see Brad Guzan and Miles Robinson starting, which is a bit of a shock because Atlanta tends to seem to be a bit conservative with anybody coming back from injury. So it was a pleasant surprise, really, to see both of them in the starting lineup.
Yeah, you got to figure with them in the starting lineup at Chattanooga means that they are thinking that they're ready to go for opening day because it's still a month away.
Yeah. Now, I don't know that Guzan particularly looks sharp, but what did you think about Miles' performance?
Everybody's saying, he was moving great. He didn't do that much, but it didn't look to me like he was moving so great.
Yeah, and
he certainly wasn't hobbling or anything.
Right.
But I don't know if he didn't really seem to show the pace and the that extra gear that he normally has.
Yeah, and I think that's understandable and kind of what is hopeful. That he's starting this early to get that extra gear and get a little confidence. I mean, that's a big injury to come back from at his age, and probably is going to take 6 or 7 games.
His age.
I don't know. He's a young buck, man. What is he like?
Young.
I was about to say,
what's he, 24?
Yeah, maybe 25, I think.
25.
Oldest 25.
Yeah. So yeah, he's. I think that's probably the first major injury that he's had. I don't know that he's had any other big injuries like that. So that's a lot to get over mentally. And even if your body's ready to trust in that next gear and put the pressure on it, I think that has to still be in the back of his mind, even if everything's good.
Yeah. I can't disagree.
Now, Dave, you and I, before we did this podcast, and we're coming back from the convention in Philadelphia, which, by the way, was awesome.
Had a blast.
Hopefully you all have listened to the interview we did with JP Della Camera. That was a treat.
We got more coming for you too.
Yeah, we have a lot of content from the convention trip that we had, and it was great to make some connections. Met one of the Atlanta United scouts that we hope to have on soon now that the season's kicked off.
Right.
Sounds like they're comfortable sharing a little bit more about kind of their scouting process and just maybe a peek under the curtain of what happens on that front.
Right. For sure. I think that would be wonderful.
Now, what did you think of that Athletic article, by the way, around scouting and how effective scouting is in general?
Yeah. For those of you who didn't follow it, there's an Athletic article which basically says that the scouts, when you really come down to it, you try to evaluate what they do. They're they're slightly better than random.
Yeah. And a lot of it is predicated on previous performance, right? In terms of predicting what a player is going to be capable of in the future.
If a player plays well, he's going to be good. But this whole idea that they're going to predict this trajectory of players just really doesn't happen much.
Yeah. No, I thought it was really a fascinating read. To be honest, I only made it about 3/4 of the way through, but it was a good read.
There was a big thing that I think that article was missing, which is
coaching.
Yeah, coaching and formation and fit,
yeah.
Right? And so, if you're scouting a player, if you're right now, you're at Atlanta United, you're scouting players in South America or even Europe, and you're looking, I don't think you can be scouting players just in general. Like, there's this a player who I think is going to be good or better, right? Because, outside of the players we know, the famous ones, the Messis of the world, the Ronaldos, the Mbappes, or whatever, who, to be honest, those guys are probably going to be fantastic no matter what team you put them in. Although I would say that even those guys, there were times when Messi for Argentina wasn't quite the Messi he was for Barcelona. But in any case, outside of those players, the vast majority of players are in some systems are really going to shine under some coaches, and some are not. There was even, I'm forgetting his name right now, but it was Spanish. He was a World Player of the Year. He transferred to Middlesbrough from Spain, and he went from World Player of the Year to like nobody in a heartbeat because he's just playing for a coach who didn't appreciate, didn't know how to use them.
Yeah, and I mean, even Miguel Almiron's an example when you go playing for Newcastle, who is trying to just stay up in the Premier League when you're playing a conservative style. You're not playing to a player's strengths like now we're seeing with Miguel Almiron, and you're seeing the same guy we saw here.
I think that's a great example. There was a lot of people who were like, oh, it's a step up in the talent, and Miguel Almiron won't be able to do it. And we argued, I think, at the time that we don't think so. It just that he's in a team that is not built to help what he needs to do.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Chattanooga preseason game.
Well, you want to talk about? Well, you want to